Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities. We're going to get in there, get the DXY, 10-30-year yields, precious metals, and into the commodities that I follow. If you guys need help navigating this commodity bull market, if you guys need ideas around this commodity bull market in terms of investments, you can sign up to the finding-value.com, become a platinum member. You can even ask me directly through the question and answer session that we have Sunday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time coming up this weekend. I'm going to give you my financial opinions in here. We'll just dive right in. And here we go. So we've got the DXY. We're coming on down. And again, like I'll reiterate, larger selling pressure here, smaller. It looks to me like we want to turn and try to go higher. So me seeing that deceleration in the candlesticks, think of the candlesticks as velocity or power, or like a force being applied. It's coming forcefully, and then it gets less force. And I can see a little bit of a pivot here where we've got a larger up movement, smaller down movement. It's really contracting here. And it looks like it wants to turn. Again, we're playing with statistical probabilities, not with for sure outcomes. But to me, it looks like the DXY wants to go higher in the short term. It's not going to be some big long-term move. I'm just saying in the short term, we could see a bounce. The 10-year yield heading higher. I drew in this kind of a wedge type formation where I said, maybe we could move to the upside here. This is not a big pattern. So don't expect some gigantor move out of this, but we could see a little bit of a move higher before heading back down lower again. Look at TLT, the bond prices. It was flat today, up 0.32%, but basically flat for the 20-year bond price. And then the 30-year yield was up a little bit. And if you look at this from a big picture view, a little bit stronger dollar, flat dollar, a little bit stronger yields, it's going to put a little bit of pressure on precious metals to go down. I do think that a driver of this could be oil price. Oil price may come back into the picture here, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. We look at the TYX to TNX ratio. It is still falling lower. That is, generally speaking, not as favorable for precious metals and a little bit more favorable for oil. So think of oil driving this curve to invert. That's what this is kind of showing us. Think of the curve inverting and think of inflationary pressures. That's how I would think of it. The CRB index, we had a nice little bounce today, up 1.16%. So we've got our squeezing of the pattern, the breakout above it, the retest down below, and now it looks like we could head higher for the CRB index. So we had a consolidation of a slightly falling wedge, a breakout, a retest, and this usually will work its way higher. Now, the CRB index is comprised, a lot of it is comprised of oil. So it's highly dependent on what oil does. We could see oil bounce here. From what I gather, China's reopening. They're having a lot more demand for oil products. We would suspect that commodities are going to follow next. Iron ore, aluminum, all of that will follow. So we could see a big jump in demand over the next couple of months from China if they're going to stay reopened. Now, they've been playing that game, open, not reopen, open, not reopen. Who knows what's going to happen here? But it looks to me like they're going to try to open and flight miles are increasing and all that good stuff. CRB to S&P 500, slightly lower, basically flat. We have a falling wedge. Usually this is going to go to the upside. So I would think that commodities could outperform the S&P 500. Again, statistical probabilities, not 100% outcomes. So given those market conditions, slightly stronger dollar, stronger yields, what I think's happening is we could potentially head lower in the short term. If I were to back out and give you guys kind of a little bit bigger picture, okay, maybe not that big of a picture, but kind of back out here. I'm gonna draw it, and it might be ugly, but it's fine. You draw this in here, and we draw this in here. I think we're probably going to head lower to about 1713, and then I think we're going to go up. It's going to be an inverted shoulder, head, shoulder. That's what I think is possible. We're seeing a slightly stronger dollar. We are seeing stronger yields, and we could break out for a period of time where this weakens down to the 1713-ish level. If that does occur, I would view that as a buying opportunity. So that's gold there. Silver also backing off a little bit. I think that we could have, let me see here on the dailies. Yeah, man. I'll say I'm indifferent at this time on where this can actually go. I mean, maybe you can do something like that where it could break out to the downside and come back and do a retest. It's possible, but it's not a strong probability there. This could go either way. We do have a little wicks at the top here. We do have some selling pressure up there, but it didn't really sell off very much. So, in all honesty, guys, this is the time where I'm indifferent on it. Looking at platinum, platinum selling off $20 today. To me, it looks like we're trying to put in some sort of pattern here. Maybe it's a flag pattern or something like that. But again, I'm indifferent here. We've got strong buying and selling pressure in both directions. Kind of strong selling pressure coming down, but we also have strong buying pressure coming up. So it's a battle between the buyers and sellers at this time. I think the market's probably confused on what exactly is going to play out here. Are we going to get a loosening? Are we going to continue to tighten? Is oil going to continue to go higher? Are we going to get reopening from China? There's a billion different things that could force this in either direction in the short term. Long term, though, I think all of these will be good plays. XAU to gold ratio rebounding today. Again, we've got lots of back and forth movement in terms of this ratio all through here. There's lots of big red candlesticks, lots of big green candlesticks. And it's that indecisiveness that I think the market's trying to work out. And honestly, guys, there's so much macro going on right now. Who knows? Who knows which way it's going to go in the short term. GDX, we're up against that resistance. We pulled back. It was bought up throughout the day. I'd say it's pretty much a neutral day to slightly positive with the momentum. I know it was down, and we've got this strong resistance line going across that we have to break through. SILJ, we have to break through that resistance line going across that I've got drawn there. We have a declining wedge that we've broken out. I still think this looks good to go higher with time. It's going to be a grind, but still looks good. Crude oil bouncing today, up 3.5%. Probably reading the news with the China reopening. Hopefully what happens is we get a nice good surge higher, a nice small little leak off back to roughly this level where I can buy a bunch more shares down here. But it does look like we are trying to turn. We can see in this candlesticks here, you can see that contraction in the opening and closing prices. This comes down where the buyers equal the sellers. We get a big bounce here, but we got to get follow through. This very well could come up another day or two, contract back, and then fall back over and get back to this same level that we're at if we've got good support, or it could even dip a hair lower than this. So I think we're going to see some bouncing around here in the short term, and that's what I see for crude oil. If China remains open, I think we're going higher. If China does this 1 foot in, 1 foot out, we're going to do some closing jawbone, who knows what, this could roll over and go sideways for a little while. Natural gas, I know we've got some cold weather coming up. It was massively higher in terms of the gap up, but the momentum kind of fizzled throughout the day, and we ended up 4%. At one point, it was up over 10%. Either way, this is a very good price for natural gas companies. As their hedges roll off, they're going to make more money. So this is still a very good price here. XOP, yeah, you know me, it is bouncing. Now, what do we do here? What do we do? It's a lot of selling pressure here, guys. And I know we got a good bounce today. what I am doing is I'm waiting. This is what I think is going to happen. This is a total guess. Do not use it for any sort of advice or anything. I think we're going to come up, and I think we're going to have one last rollover, and I think we're going to get down here. And I think, or we're going to bounce sideways like that. So one of those two outcomes. I'm going to leave those drawings there. We'll see if that's right. It's a total guess. Guessing on the short term, I don't do it. I don't put any money on it, but that's my guess. With this momentum coming down, it's pretty strong. It's like, think of it as a car moving, and you've just got the first force to push back. But that momentum behind it, that's the selling momentum, may bring us back down either to this bottom or slightly lower than it. OAH is also in that mix. It's got a pretty good day today, up 4.3%. Big picture view, you're not going to find a bigger bull than myself for any of these oil companies. We've broken the downtrend. That is step number one, but we could still come back and do a retest. So the short term, we could see some weakness. We've got a bearish engulfing here. We've got good selling pressure coming down, and this is not a reversal candlestick yet. Now, here's the thing. You don't need a reversal candlestick to reverse, but, the momentum is still there, so I do think we could bounce and kind of come back sideways or create some sort of falling wedge. We'll see. But there's still some selling pressure in it. We're still above the support level. There could still be some downside left in this. But good, strong day today. If we get very strong days coming up, big buying pressure, big green candlestick days, then I'm going to reverse and change my decision. Now, keep in mind, I am not trading in and out of this. I am buying long-term positions at very good prices. We were buying here. We're buying all over the place, guys. Back in March or before March, we're buying all of these dips. We're trying our best. And maybe we bought some in here, maybe we bought some in there, maybe we do have one purchase up here. But as long as we can keep these purchases off support levels, that is where you win as a long-term investor. Do not chase price. If something runs up real good, just be like, hey, time out. Let's hang on for a second. Let's get the pullback. And sometimes we're going to mistime these pullbacks a little bit. But we're going to try our best. Cost averaging in is the easiest way to try to get the best prices. Let's see, cost average in slowly. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, we still got the selling pressure here. You get the big candlestick, down candlestick, not much buying pressure. It's going to go down. Another big selling off candlestick. I haven't seen the buyer step in yet. Now, if you don't have a good size position in uranium yet, this is perfect. We could see some further downside. If you've got positions and you want to add to them at some point, let's wait for this thing to bottom out at some point, and then we can add in at a low risk point. Maybe in this general vicinity in here, we can get in there, and there's a lot of support there, a lot. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to wait for this to come in. We're going to look for some large buying candlesticks, the small selling pressure, wait for that characteristic of candlestick to change, and then I'm going in. Uranium bouncing today, up 1.6%. Now, is this a bottom? Well, I think it could be starting. We got to see the buyer step in. We got to see buying pressure. I can see selling pressure through here, these candlesticks there, and this bounce isn't coming up yet. We need to see more buying pressure. Otherwise, I'm going to remain that this could go lower because if you were to kind of put this, it's basically an inverted flag pattern, and things could go to the downside. So one thing that we might want to look at is what are the overall markets doing? Because right now, the buyers aren't just stepping in here and killing it. Tan's another one. It's just moving sideways. Bigger picture view still looks great for a move higher. This here is supported off of government subsidies. And it's not a powerhouse on cash flows. If you want powerhouse on cash flows, they're all on fossil fuels. If you want to ruin the environment by mining absolutely every mineral reserve we have left on planet Earth, then solar's the spot you want to be with renewables, because this is a very mineral intensive thing. But right now, if energy prices go up, solar becomes less competitive. I know that sounds backwards. Solar is a large consumer of energy, and all of the minerals that go in it are consumers of energy. And that's what moves the cost curves up and down, and the prices is energy prices. COPX getting that nice little, we call it the bloody nose. This is the bloody nose. It looks fine up here. I don't see any reversal candlestick. The sellers aren't womping this thing. Buyers are coming in and putting little wicks at the bottom. Still looks good to move higher for copper. Lithium, nice little small down day today. I did throw, looks like I threw a Fibonacci on there. We've got a line here, a line there going across. It's consolidation pattern, but we did enter this consolidation pattern from the top side down. So we'll see where this goes. I don't really follow too many that are coming from the top side down, but I do know that lithium is in high demand coming up. Got some good deficits. Looking at the rare earth strategic metals, we're bouncing sideways. I love it when we bounce sideways. It gives me more time to accumulate. Now, looking at this, we do have some selling pressure in here on a monthly candlestick basis. There's a big guy there, another kind of big guys, and the buying pressure isn't as much. What I want to see is that, I call it the characteristic flip-flop. And we're starting to flip-flop some on this side over here. Big buying pressure, smaller selling pressure. I think eventually this was going to turn around and we'll work our way higher as this bounces sideways and eventually grinds itself higher. Big long term though, we've got a double bottom and then the pause right on top. That's called the ideal buy point for a new uptrend. The S&P 500 getting some buying pressure, up 1.43%. Is this a false breakdown where we're going to break higher out of this falling megaphone pattern? Here, okay, that's loaded a little too far. There's your falling megaphone. Are we going to break out of this to the upside? It's yet to be seen. We've got a strong selling pressure, but the dailies look pretty good. This here looks pretty good with this nice, good buying pressure today. That was also in the face of a flat dollar and stronger yields. This was the start of the move, this big bullish engulfing there, and then we had a couple bullish engulfings along the way. The Green Army is outweighing the selling pressure on this move higher, though. NASDAQ also looking quite good. The bullish engulfing here, another one here, another one here, and we sold off, but this looks like the buyers want to push it higher in the short term. Is this a bottoming pattern? Maybe. If you draw it across here, you could get a lead in and then a double bottom. It could be. Now, I'm not saying that. We got to see what happens over the next few days. The buyers come in here and start blowing through these trend lines. I would be much more confident to say that. Right now, we are observing at this time to see what happens. I do not have any investments in the index or the S&P 500. Emerging markets still looks good to me. We'll back out a little bit. We've got a downtrend that we've broken, and we're just chilling up above it. I think this could be a really good entry point down here for a potential move much higher. So that's emerging markets. XHB, which is the housing market. I know some people think that this is just going to roll over. I think this looks incredibly strong for a double bottom and then a potential move up. So when I think of this, think of we could have a bounce in interest rates in the short term. The home builders aren't buying it. The S&P 500 isn't buying it. So we could have a very short bounce in rates and then a decline in interest rates later. We also have to see what Powell is going to come out with. Maybe he's not going to raise rates. I don't know what he's going to do. But maybe he's not going to raise them as much. Maybe he's not going to raise them at all. Maybe he's going to flip. We're going to have to wait and find out. But the home builders look really good. Moo, which is the agribusiness, still looking all right, coming back to support. That's that bottom support line going across. So that's looking good. We're getting a little bit more selling pressure today with copper. We do have a little wick at the bottom. We're right at that support resistance line. We're just playing around with it. That's this big, strong guy there. We have not broken out above that. Now, if we break out above that, guys, we could see a big move in copper. We're still getting stuck in this general vicinity at resistance. You can tell today that we sold off a little bit. I would not be afraid of it. I would be watching it and seeing if we can head higher here. If we head higher, we're going to get away from this resistance stickiness level, and we could see a big move out of copper. I mean, we still have a little bit of resistance above us through this area here, but yeah, it's looking a lot better. We've got, and I'm just gonna move this guy up here. Maybe we can draw something on the lines of, something like that, where we're continuing to bounce sideways in kind of a falling wedge pattern. If home builders start to take off, if interest rates start to go lower, we could see lumber go higher. That is a speculative movement there, but it's a falling wedge, and we'll see what happens. Iron ore is still busting sideways in this falling wedge pattern. If China reopens, I expect iron ore to rebound. Then I expect the Baltic Dry Index to go up, and I expect copper demand to go up and all those other things. Aluminum. Right now, we're flat. We're flat in aluminum as well. Aluminum is just bouncing sideways. I am a big aluminum bull. Massive bull in aluminum, guys. Massive. Over the next 5 years. Baltic Dry Index, also looking really bullish to break higher. Falling wedge, looks fantastic. 1, 2, 3 hump. And we could get a move here at any second. Coal still moving higher, up 1.77%, looking quite tasty. And then Ethereum, and I use these as a measurement of liquidity. I still think that Ethereum and Bitcoin look good to move higher, and that this would actually be an early entry point for a very aggressive investor. And I know some people say, well, other people say, I don't care what other people say, guys. It's based off the pattern I see. Usually when you make this little pattern here, that's kind of the bottom-ish type of movement. I don't own anything in this. I don't really have any skin in the game in here. But this is a double bottom. You get the lead in, the double bottom, and that's usually where we start to head higher, is right here at any second. And same with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's doing the same thing. We've got kind of a confluence of events here. So that's what I've got for today, guys. Hopefully, we've got a lot of sitting and watching at this time. We're kind of in these big falling wedge patterns. Some are breaking out. Some are about to break out, like the Baltic Dry Index, iron ore, and stuff like that. Copper's still looking good. Oil's still looking great. So that's what I've got for today. If you guys have any questions or anything, definitely hit me up on finding-value.com, Platinum membership. Give me a thumb up for the content, and we'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.